The diplomatic reception at the coalition embassy on Meridian Station was routine. Human officials meeting with representatives from various allied species to discuss trade agreements and cultural exchange programs. Human cultural attaché Daniel Carter was there in his professional capacity, taking notes and facilitating introductions between delegates who needed translation assistance. Then she walked into the room. An Ethiopian woman, tall, elegant, with the characteristic long pointed ears and striking violet eyes that seemed to catch light in ways that suggested depth and intelligence. She wore formal diplomatic attire and carried herself with quiet confidence. Daniel felt something immediate and overwhelming, attraction so sudden and complete that it actually disrupted his professional composure for a moment. He covered quickly, returning his attention to his tablet and trying to look like he was reviewing notes rather than staring. But when he glanced up again, she was looking directly at him, not with the polite acknowledgement of fellow professionals in the same space, with focused attention that suggested she'd noticed something specific. Their eyes met briefly, and Daniel saw her expression shift, surprise mixed with what looked like careful assessment. He looked away quickly, trying to refocus on his work. Professional, you're here professionally, stop being obvious. A few minutes later, during a break in the formal proceedings, she approached him. You are Daniel Carter? She asked, her standard carrying a slight accent that Daniel found unreasonably appealing. Yes, I'm one of the cultural attachés. Can I help you with something? I am Veska Thomora, diplomatic liaison for the Ethiopian Cultural Exchange Program. She studied him with that same focused attention. When we made eye contact earlier, I sensed something unexpected. Among my people, we are sensitive to emotional resonance. What you felt when you first saw me, I perceived it clearly. Daniel felt his face heating with embarrassment. I apologize if I was unprofessional. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Veska's expression shifted to something between curiosity and what might have been amusement. You misunderstand. I am not uncomfortable. I am intrigued. Among the Ethiopian, we experience emotional awareness differently than humans. We can sense the resonance of strong emotions, particularly when they are genuine and unguarded. She tilted her head slightly. What you felt when you saw me was immediate and overwhelming. No calculation, no strategic interest, just pure, honest response. That kind of instant emotional resonance is rare. Among my people, it is considered significant. Daniel tried to process this. So you're saying you can sense that I'm attracted to you. I can sense that you experienced profound emotional response to my presence, Veska corrected. Whether that constitutes what humans call attraction is something I would need to understand better. But the honesty of the response, the lack of any attempt to calculate or manage it before I sensed it, is what makes it noteworthy. She paused. Among my people, such instant recognition is rare and valued. We believe that when two beings experience immediate emotional resonance, it suggests compatibility that transcends conscious assessment. That sounds like you're describing love at first sight, Daniel said, then immediately felt foolish for being so direct. Perhaps, Veska acknowledged. Though my people would describe it as recognition, the moment when two beings perceive in each other something essential and compatible. You recognized something in me the instant we met. That recognition was powerful enough that I sensed it immediately despite never having met you before. She looked at him with careful intensity. And now I am curious. What did you recognize? What about my presence generated such immediate response? Daniel tried to articulate something he didn't fully understand himself. I don't know how to explain it. You walked into the room and I just knew that you were someone important, someone I needed to know. It was overwhelming and irrational, and I've been trying not to be obvious about it for the past 20 minutes. Veska made a sound that suggested approval or satisfaction. That honesty, that willingness to admit you experienced something you cannot explain rationally, is valuable. Most beings would attempt to justify or minimize such responses. You simply acknowledge them as genuine. She gestured to a quieter area of the reception hall. Would you be willing to speak with me more privately? I find myself curious about this recognition you experienced, and I wish to understand it better without the distraction of diplomatic performance. They found a less crowded corner, and Veska asked questions that went far beyond polite small talk, about what Daniel had perceived when he first saw her, about how he typically experienced attraction, about whether this immediate overwhelming response was common for him. Daniel answered honestly, explaining that no, this wasn't normal for him, that he'd never experienced anything quite this immediate and complete, that he'd been trying to manage it professionally while internally feeling completely disrupted by her presence. Among my people, Veska explained, we experience something called Kathara Velsha, recognition of resonance. It occurs when two beings encounter each other and perceive immediate compatibility at a level that transcends conscious assessment. The emotional response you describe, immediate, overwhelming, and not subject to rational control, matches this phenomenon. She studied Daniel carefully. What you experienced was likely Kathara Velsha from a human perspective. What I experienced was sensing your recognition and finding myself responding to it in ways I did not anticipate. You're saying you felt something too? Daniel asked. I sensed your recognition and found myself affected by its honesty, Veska confirmed. Among my people, when someone experiences such genuine recognition toward us, it creates resonance in return. Your immediate response to my presence has made me aware of you in ways that feel significant. She paused. This is unusual for me. I am experienced in diplomatic work, accustomed to managing professional relationships across species barriers. But your recognition was so honest and unguarded that it has disrupted my own professional composure. Over the following days, as the diplomatic reception concluded and delegates prepared to depart, Daniel and Veska found themselves seeking each other out. Conversations that started professionally but became increasingly personal. Acknowledgement that something unusual was developing between them. Veska explained more about Etherian concepts of emotional recognition. Among my people, we believe that instant recognition, the kind you experienced when you first saw me, is not random attraction but perception of deep compatibility. When two beings recognize each other immediately, we interpret this as significant alignment of character and spirit. She looked at Daniel directly. You recognized something in me that resonated with something in yourself. That recognition was powerful enough that I sensed it before you even spoke to me, and it has created reciprocal recognition in me toward you. So what does this mean? Daniel asked. For us, I mean. Your Etherian diplomatic liaison, I'm human cultural attaché. We work for different governments, probably in different systems most of the time. It means we have choice, Veska said. Recognition creates opportunity, but we decide what to build from that foundation. I am returning to Etherian space at the end of this diplomatic rotation. You are based here on Meridian Station. We could acknowledge this recognition and let distance end it. Or we could choose to honor it, to build something from this mutual awareness that neither of us expected. She paused. Among my people, Kathara Velsha is considered rare and valuable. When we experience it, we are encouraged to honor it rather than dismiss it out of convenience or fear. But the choice must be mutual, both beings recognizing and choosing to honor what they have perceived. Daniel thought about the immediate overwhelming response he'd felt when Veska walked into that reception, about the conversations they'd had over the following days, about the way she'd responded to his honesty with her own rather than with the professional distance that would have been easier. I want to honor it, Daniel said. I don't know how we make this work across distance and different cultures and all the practical complications. But I know that what I felt when I first saw you was real and significant, and I don't want to dismiss it just because it's complicated. Veska smiled, genuine warmth rather than diplomatic courtesy. Then we will find way to honor this recognition. Among my people, we believe that when two beings recognize each other truly, the universe has provided opportunity that deserves to be explored rather than dismissed. Over the following months, as they navigated long-distance relationship across different star systems, Daniel and Vesca discovered that the instant recognition they'd experienced wasn't fleeting infatuation but genuine compatibility. During one conversation, Vesca explained, "When you first saw me, you recognized something essential about who I am, something that resonated with who you are. That recognition was so honest and immediate that it disrupted your professional composure. But it was also accurate. What you perceived in that instant has been confirmed through every conversation we have had since." "You make it sound mystical," Daniel observed. "Perhaps it is," Vesca acknowledged. "Or perhaps it is simply two beings whose characters are compatible perceiving that compatibility before their conscious minds can rationalize it. Either way, you fell for me the moment we met, and I noticed it immediately. And that honest recognition has become the foundation for something genuine and valuable." Some connections are built slowly through careful assessment and gradual familiarity. Some develop through shared experiences and mutual discovery. And some begin in an instant of overwhelming recognition, when one being sees another and simply knows, before reason or calculation can interfere, that this person matters in ways that transcend explanation. The human who couldn't hide his immediate attraction discovered that being seen, truly seen, in that moment of vulnerability,